when digital strategy moves faster than energy governance. For much of the past 2 decades, digital expansion followed a predictable pattern. Compute demand rose steadily. Efficiency gains offset much of the increase. Energy planning remained a background function. That pattern has broken. AI training clusters, real-time inference, and always-on analytics are changing the load profile of digital infrastructure. Industry estimates now place AI-driven workloads among the fastest-growing sources of new electricity demand, with some hyperscale facilities adding 50 to 100 megawatts of load at a single site, roughly equivalent to a small city. Unlike traditional IT growth, these loads are highly concentrated, not distributed; continuous, not interruptible; power-dense, often exceeding legacy facility design assumptions. Digital strategy is scaling in months. Energy systems scale in years. Why IT encounters the limits first? Technology teams often feel the constraints before anyone else, not because they own energy decisions, but because they execute growth. Common scenarios now appearing across enterprises. AI pilots approved without confirming on-site power headroom. Cloud expansions that exceed contracted energy volumes within a single quarter. Data centers reaching cooling or redundancy limits earlier than forecast. In many cases, workloads deploy successfully, but supporting infrastructure lags. Facilities teams flag constraints after commitments are made. Energy procurement teams face tighter contracts and higher prices. Sustainability teams discover energy use rising faster than modeled. None of these issues halt operations outright. They compound quietly. Energy governance was built for a different pace. Most corporate energy governance models assume annual demand forecasting, incremental load growth, 2 to 4% per year, clear separation between IT decisions and energy planning. Those assumptions no longer reflect reality. In regions with dense digital infrastructure, grid operators are now revising load forecasts upward by double-digit percentages within a single planning cycle, driven largely by data centers and advanced computing. Energy procurement, however, often remains locked into multi-year contracts, negotiated under older assumptions. Governance structures optimized for stability are now being asked to manage acceleration, where the governance gaps show up. The governance failure rarely appears as a single mistake. It shows up across decision seams. Typical pressure points include digital roadmaps approved without energy availability as a gating input, facilities teams brought in after site selection decisions, sustainability targets set using historical energy intensity assumptions, energy procurement reacting to demand growth rather than shaping it. Each function operates rationally within its scope. The risk forms in the gaps between them. Cost is the first signal. The earliest and most consistent signal of misalignment is cost. When demand outruns planning, energy prices rise faster than forecast. Backup and resilience investments appear late in project budgets. Grid upgrades or interconnection delays introduce unplanned capital expense. In competitive electricity markets, even modest shifts in peak demand can materially affect pricing. Modeling of recent supply-demand imbalances shows billions of dollars in added system-wide cost over a decade without requiring reliability failures. For enterprises, that translates into higher operating expense, budget volatility, reduced confidence in long-term projections. These costs are absorbed long before any outage occurs. Climate commitments absorb the strain. Next, rising digital energy demand also tests climate and ESG commitments. Many corporate targets assume continued efficiency gains, stable energy intensity per unit of digital output, gradual decarbonization of the grid. When AI and data workloads scale faster than those assumptions, emissions trajectories diverge. The issue is not bad faith, it is timing. Energy demand shifts quarterly. Targets are revisited annually. The result is growing tension between stated goals and operational reality. Why this is a leadership problem? This is not an IT coordination issue. It is a governance issue that sits at the executive level. Digital strategy now directly influences capital allocation, site selection, energy procurement, climate risk, and reporting. Yet responsibility for integrating these decisions is often diffuse. When no single function owns the intersection, misalignment becomes systemic. What changes when energy moves upstream? Organizations adapting earlier are not slowing digital growth. They are changing sequencing. In these organizations, Energy availability is assessed alongside digital feasibility. Facilities and energy teams engage before deployments are locked. Sustainability modeling reflects realistic growth scenarios. Governance moves from reactive to anticipatory. The difference is not technology, it is process. Digital growth in 2026. Digital growth is accelerating at the same time energy systems are tightening. Grid congestion, interconnection delays, and price volatility are no longer edge cases. They are shaping execution timelines today. When digital strategy moves faster than energy governance, organizations don't fail outright. They absorb friction through higher costs, slower rollouts, and strained credibility. The companies that adjust governance now will experience fewer surprises later. The rest will learn that the real constraint on digital growth was never compute, it was coordination. You've been listening to Sustainability Soundbites by Environment and Energy Leader. For partnership opportunities, please reach out to our team.